Welcome back to another episode of the FloTrack podcast. A wild one. We just had the World Indoor Championships come to a conclusion on the Saturday session with a phenomenal kind of weird ending, right? Because it took like 20 minutes for us to find out who won the freaking 60-meter dash. But Lamont Jacobs takes the win over Christian Coleman. We'll break the whole thing down eventually. But, man, these past 2 days, they just ended with big shocking, right? We obviously had Kambunji in the women's 60s surprise everyone by taking down the early favorites. And now we had the anticipated Coleman versus Jacobs and throwing a little bit of Bracey matchup. And, man, a lot of these takes on the Italian sprinter for the past 6 months, he just did a big shut the F up to all of it because now, oh yeah, I can even say the word fuck. He said shut the fuck up to all of it because he is, man, we're all wrong. We're just wrong. We just have to accept. Today is a podcast of just accepting that you can be wrong sometimes. And so I'm going to be accepting that I am wrong, that others are wrong. My colleague Kevin is wrong. We're all wrong. Lamont Jacobs is the real deal. But before we get into all that, this has been a great 2 days so far. We have one more day of World Indoors. And throughout these championships, we're doing a prediction contest called FloTrack Pick'em. If you click on that QR code that shows up on the screen right there, in the corner right there, you can enter the contest. We've done a bunch of picks throughout the weekend. We had 3 before the meet started. We had 3 yesterday. We have, I think, we had 4 yesterday. We have 4 more that are going to be for tomorrow. For a total of how many picks we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 picks. And I made these picks. So the game is, if you can successfully have a better win-loss record in these picks than me, you'll be in the running to win a Fanatics gift card, a cross-net 4-way volleyball court set, which is like retail value about almost $200. Cool thing. And more. The prizes are continue to get bigger and better as we go on in the outdoor season. We're just getting started. And I've been okay with my picks. So we're doing a quick recap of where my picks are standing right now and where you guys are going to be at when we go into the final day of Pick'em. So we've already had the women's 60 go down yesterday. I correctly predicted that it was going to be a time between 6:96 and 7 flat, albeit I didn't think it was going to be the woman who won who did it, but the question was the winning time, not the individual. I correctly predicted that. She ran 6:96. Next pick that I got wrong was Isaiah Harris and Bryce Hoppel. I thought they were going to win gold. They did not. I said yes. They didn't. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the podcast. So I'm 1-1 there. Third pick was Shawnee Miller-Weibo versus Femke Bol. Who will win that competition? I went with Miller-Weibo, and she officially won. So I'm 2-1. The fourth one was Ethiopia going 1, 2, 3 in the women's 1500. I said yes, and that actually happened. And you look at this pick, not a lot of people predicted that. Only 25% of you thought that Ethiopia could go 1, 2, 3 in the women's 1500 final. I thought it could happen, and it did. And then the fifth one that just came to a conclusion, I asked you who will finish second in the men's 60. It turned out second place finisher was Christian Coleman. And only 17% of you guys thought Christian Coleman would finish second. I thought Marvin Bracey would finish second. He ended up finishing third. Obviously, it was Coleman that finished second. So a lot of people, it's hard, man. These pick'ems are hard. I am currently 2 right, 3 wrong, but I got a chance to catch up because we have new pick'ems. And these are the new questions that we're going to have for tomorrow that you got to get in before, I believe, 10 a.m. Central because the meet starts a little bit earlier. First question is, will Grant Holloway break or tie the world record of 7:29? Yes or no? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good vibes. We just saw fast 60s. I think we're going to see a fast 60 hurdle here. I'm going with yes. I think Grant Holloway will break the world record, aka his own PB, tomorrow. Second question is, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, what's going to be his margin of victory? Is he going to win by less than a second, 1 to 2 seconds, over 2 seconds, or will he not win? It'll be negative because he won't win. I'm going with 1 to 2 seconds. which I think is favorable after watching this women's 1500. After seeing the Ethiopian win by like 6 seconds, has been incredible. I don't think it's going to be that much of a blowout. I think people will keep it close with Jakob, but I'm going 1 to 2 seconds for my pick there. The next pick is, will Ajay Wilson medal in the 800? Yes or no? I'm going with a no. Even though there's no Keely Hodgkinson in the race, I don't know. I wasn't feeling Ajay Wilson's vibe in that prelim. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the pod. I'm going with a no. And then the fourth and final question, will Mondo Duplantis break or tie his own world record? I'm also going with a no. I think he's going to win, but he's going to go for 620. I don't think he gets it. So I'm going with a no. So those are the picks. Total of 11 picks, all right? If you can beat my record, you're in the running for the Fanatics gift card, for that cross-net volleyball set, and so on. It's going to be great. Keep playing with us. We're doing this week in and week out. Play FloTrack, pick them. Okay, enough of that. Men's 60. You know what? I'm going to save a little bit of the men's 60. I'm going to let people kind of filter their way into the YouTube chat, really start talking their shit on, Christian Coleman and also the Italians. If they're an Italian out there, you can start bragging your Italian heritage towards us Americans who can't seem to win this men's 60. But before we get into any of that 60 stuff, let's talk about what happened in the earlier session. We had two notable prelims. We had the men's 1500 and the women's 800. Starting with the men's 1500, basically all of the relevant players all qualified. There wasn't much of a chaos going on. Obviously, Jakob qualified. Tefera of Ethiopia qualified. Oliver Hoare qualified. Kip Sang of Kenya qualified. So the main players qualified. The main thing I thought was interesting was both Americans, they only got in on time. Neither of them were able to grab big cues. So the hopes of an American medal aren't looking too good. You think if you're going to be in a medal contention, you'll be able to kind of control your prelim because it's a lesser competition. But, Josh Thompson, Sam Prickle, both get in. Very good for them. Survive in advance. It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. A qualification. Doesn't matter if you have a big Q or a little Q. A Q is a Q. That's what Vin Diesel said in Fast and the Furious Q. No, a Fast and the Furious track edition would be kind of cool. Where we should recast Fast and the Furious with track athletes and then redo a whole storyline. But instead of drag racing and street racing, they're just track racing. Man, Fast and the Furious, Eugene Drift. Anyway, but yeah, Prakel and Thompson make it in. Good for them. Excited to see what they do in the final. It's going to be hard for them to medal, but hey, as long as you have a spot in the starting line, anything can happen. Women's 800. There was some big news in the beginning of the prelims. Heavy favorite, Keely Hodgkinson, was a DNS. Their British Athletics tweeted out that she's been dealing with an injury, and so she wasn't able to compete. It's kind of a bummer. I kind of was looking forward to see if she could run another 157 or something crazy, 156. But we're going to have to wait for the Keely experiment in the outdoor season. So that was kind of a bummer. But for those who did race, again, the main players all qualified. Alamu of Ethiopia. I forget how to say her name. Nakai, the Ugandan athlete. Gould got in from Jamaica. And Ajay Wilson, she qualified with a big Q, won their slow heat in 2:03. It's pretty slow. Olivia Baker wasn't able to handle the hot pace in her heat. She faded to 6th in her heat. So one American in the final. Ajay Wilson has a lot of experience. I think she has a chance to medal. I wouldn't put it past her, but I just look at, Alamu, Gould, someone else who's just going to surprise. I think Ajay Wilson might finish 4th. And so that's why in my FloTrack pick'em, I'm going with no medal. But there's only 8 athletes on the track. Finish top 3. You only got to beat, 5 other people. So it is possible. But yeah, we'll wait for tomorrow to see how those events play out. On tomorrow's podcast, we are going to have Josh Kerr as a guest because, we're going to have all these mid-distance finals go down, men's 15, men's 3K, women's 800. So it's going to be great to see kind of Josh's reaction to what's going on, because obviously if Josh was in these races, he probably would be in the final and potentially winning a medal or winning gold, going up against Ingebrigtsen. So we'll break that all down tomorrow. Look forward to that podcast post the final day. But now we're all here. I gave time for the chat to log in. Men's 60. Now, before we get to the race that happened, there was a little bit of some storylines going on in the first two rounds. Bracy in the morning session ran like an incredible 640, I think 646 in the prelim, like not the semifinals, but the prelim. So I was like, oh man, Bracy, he's coming in hot with a 646 personal best in the first round. He did not need to do that. Coleman and Jacobs kind of cruise to their individual heat wins. So right away, we were expecting a Coleman versus Jacobs. Bracy runs 646. We're like, all right, it's a three-way battle. Let's see what happens in the semis. And then in the semis, Bracy and Coleman can take their foot off the gas. They win their races individually. But then Jacobs, in his semifinal, he runs 645, I believe. Is that what he ran, 645? Yeah, he runs 645, tying the world lead. And so now we're going into the final with Bracy coming off of 646, Jacobs coming off of 645, Coleman coming off of win-win easily, so he's the least pushed himself. He has the most in his legs, I guess you could say, but also has a season best of 645. So we're like, all right, this is a three-way monster for final. They're all in the middle of the track. They line up, and then the gun goes off, and 6 seconds later, we have no idea who won, because Jacobs nips Coleman at the line by 0.003 seconds. It was such a close margin of victory that it felt like it took 20 minutes to find out who won. You're just watching the screen, and they're all just staring at the board. You have no idea. And then it took, 2 minutes? It felt like forever. But 2 minutes later, you see Jacobs put his arms up, and you're like, there it is. Jacobs taking down the world record holder in the 60, the defending world champion in the 60, and triples down on all the disrespect that he's been given because he opted to not run post-Olympics, that people put an asterisk. Nah, he's an Italian. That 100-meter win at the Olympics doesn't mean shit. You got to do it again for me to really believe it. Well, he ran 641. He beat the world record holder. He beat the 2019 world champion in the 100. And not only did he beat these guys, he beat them coming from behind. He did not have a lead. He did not hold off Coleman. He did not hold off Bracy. He chased down Coleman. He chased down Bracy. And if there's 40 more meters to this is not a margin of victory of 0.003 seconds. This is a dominant Jacobs win if we had 40 more meters to this race. Obviously, things change when you're racing for 60 versus 100. You're going to have a different strategy and all that. I get that. But the immediate reaction to this was Jacobs is the guy. It is not Coleman. We kind of were all just knighting Coleman as the guy because he was undefeated in the regular season. And we were just thinking, Jacobs, you still have to prove it to me. But this is it. He did at the biggest moment, a world championship, obviously indoors. It's not outdoors, but whatever. For what we got here, he straight up beat Coleman. The people who weren't in this race, Bromell is not the 100-meter favorite. Curley, I guess technically, is the one main missing piece. Curley, DeGrasse, and Lyles. Lyles wasn't really a 60, so that was a non-factor. DeGrasse, maybe. But DeGrasse, I feel like, is more of a 200 guy. Curley, which I want to talk about, he low-key just ran 20 flat in a 200, like today in Arizona. But I digress. It's about Coleman. It's about Jacobs. Jacobs runs 641, tied for fourth all time, behind the Americans, or four Americans, Coleman, Green, Baker, and Kaysen. But man, I mean, once I started the podcast, a lot of egg on our faces for doubting Jacobs' ability. And this was kind of the best result that Jacobs could have hoped for. It's a good result for Coleman. Like, Coleman can't walk away from this race being like disappointed. He's coming off a year and a half of not racing, and his first season back within a few months, he loses by 0.003 seconds to the Olympic champion, and he runs 6:41, just a few hundredths of a second off his world record. So Coleman, even though he got beat, he can kind of go home with be like, I mean, if you told me you're going to run 6:41 and have a tough loss, I think he'd take that going into the outdoor season. Bracy, he's going to take what he got. Looks like he was injured early in the season, but comes on hot, runs back-to-back PBs in Belgrade, gets a medal. The only guys he's losing to are the 2019 World Outdoor Champion and the 2021 Olympic Champion. So it's like, all right, he's only getting beat by studs. So Bracy has that confidence. So everyone's kind of coming out of this with a lot of confidence, but Jacobs is coming out with the FU confidence, like show respect confidence, which I love. And I hope he kind of leans into it. I want him to start talking shit. I don't know if he will. I don't follow him that much on social media, but it'll be great if Jacobs is like, oh yeah, asterisks, huh? Well, what's 2 for 2 now? All right. Of course, being the way I talk on the internet about track and field, as we get closer to July, I'm probably going to talk myself out of Jacobs. I'm going to talk myself into a Coleman or into a Curly, and he's going to have that chip on his shoulder again. And I'm going to be like, well, 2 for 2. The second one doesn't count because it's indoors. You got to really go 2 for 2 outdoors. And then, the whole narrative I'm going to have to create to make it to disrespect Jacobs again is probably going to come back. I'm just being honest with what's going to happen in my brain and how it works. But like I said, I think all three can come away from this race with, not happy, but like, hey, it's not awful. 6:41 is not awful. 6:44 is not awful. And Jacobs, obviously, he has nothing awful because he won. So anyway, I don't know what else much you can add to a 60-meter race. It's crazy that a 6-second race can elicit so much emotional reaction. It's just a 6-second event. You watch like a 3-hour baseball game or 2-hour basketball game, and there's so many ups and downs, runs, and, watching March Madness is making my brain kind of melt this past 2 days. But like in 6 seconds, the narrative of our sport went like this. It just snapped. We could have had 2 different paths. We could have had the path of, oh shit, Coleman's back. No one's ever going to beat him. He hasn't lost a beat. The Olympic champion could have beat him. And Jacobs, what have you done for me lately? It's going to be like, talk to me when you beat someone of Coleman's caliber. You beat a 400-meter runner and Fred Curley. That doesn't count, obviously. Fred Curley's not just a 400-meter runner. He's one of the greatest of all time. But, that would have been the narrative. So it could have been that. But now we're going down the other path where it's, oh shit, the Italian is legit. Jacobs ain't going nowhere. He can beat the 100. He beat the 100-meter champion. He beat the 200-meter Olympic champion. He beat the versatile Fred Curley. He's beaten the consistent lately Bromell. He's beaten everybody. So what else can he? He's like, guys, I've proven it all. It's time for you to roll out the red carpet for me. I'm getting lane 4 or 5. When it comes to a Diamond League and me and Coleman and Curley are on the start line, you know who you're asking first for the lane preference? It's me. It's not Coleman. It's not Curley. It's me. Up until Worlds where, the narrative can then change again. Hell, Arian Knighton can come out of nowhere and be like, hey guys, remember me? I was 17 last year. Now I'm 18. And now I'm going to freaking run 19.4 in the 200. crazy things happen. We got still a bunch of months before World Outdoors, but I'm already excited. This is a great way to start the outdoor season. You have now the chip on Coleman's shoulder. You have the confidence on Jacob's shoulder. You have the rejuvenation into Bracey. It's just great all around. But yeah, anyway, that's the men's 60. So much I could have talked more about. I could do a whole hour podcast on the 1 6-second race, but I do want to talk a little bit about other things that went down because we had some other interesting results, including some upsets that I'll break down. But first, let's talk a little bit about women's 400. So, women's 400, Shaunae Miller-Weibo, Femke Bol, that was the matchup we were looking. Stephanie Ann McPherson was kind of potentially a wild card, but at the end of the day, it came down to Bol and Miller-Weibo. And Miller-Weibo took advantage of her 200-meter talent, which is what you have to do in a 400 indoors. If you want to win a 400 indoors and you are a great 200-meter runner, you need to use it to benefit. You need to use it. If you don't use it, you're not going to win. And she used it. She went out hard. She got the lead at the 200-meter mark. And then there was no way Femke Bol is going to make a pass. The race was over in the first 20-ish seconds. After that, that's all she wrote. Like, you literally could have just put the medals around their neck at the bell lap. There should have been a meet official with medals and like tossing them around their necks once they cross the 200-meter split, because you knew that this is what's going to happen. Unless someone falls, this is who's going to win. And Shaunae Miller-Weibo, it's great to see her. It's kind of weird that all indoor season, she just wasn't running. And then she shows up, runs 3 races, and is now a world indoor champion. I got someone from the Bahamas tweeted at me saying, Gordon, you guys show some respect for Shaunae Miller-Weibo because you were all in on Femke Bol. You know what? I was all in on Femke Bol because she ran the regular season. I'm going to put my trust in someone who has at least a result. And Femke Bol had multiple results, and they were good results. But as soon as Shaunae Miller-Weibo ran the first round yesterday, Shaunae then had a result, and it was a good result. And once I saw one Shaunae result with all of Femke's results, I recognize it's time to switch, and it's time to recognize that Shaunae is fit, because you have no idea if she's fit. She could have show up and been in 52-second shape. You have no idea. But she runs one race. You see she's fit. You know her talent. You know her history. Shaunae for the win, 100%. But you had to have one race. As soon as she ran the first round, the prelim yesterday, I knew. I was like, all right, Shaunae's fit. She's here. She's going to win. And that's exactly what happened. On the men's side, a little bit of kind of a lot of emotion in this one. Jareem Richards of Trinidad and Tobago almost breaks 45 seconds, runs 45 flat. Bassett was close, runs 45.05. But Jareem Richards, similar strategy that Shaunae Miller-Weibo did. Take advantage of his 200-meter speed, because Jareem, I think he's made a world championship final in the 200. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty confident I've seen Richards on a start line for a 200-meter final. But took advantage, again, of his 200-meter speed. Gets to it at the 200-meter mark, and you know he's going to win. He holds off, though, a charging Bassett. Bassett almost caught him, but Jareem had the speed, had the big enough lead to hold off. And it was an emotional victory. For those you don't know, Trinidad Tobago, his former countrymen, Dion Lindor, Texas A&M grad, Bowerman winner. I followed Dion Lindor throughout his college career and a little bit of his pro career. Passed away tragically earlier this year. I think it was this year or late in 2021. And it's kind of cool that Jareem was able to kind of give Trinidad a 400-meter gold medal for Dion. And just a lot of emotion there. And it's pretty cool. I mean, Trinidad Tobago, they got some stars from that small country. Remember when their 4x4 smoked USA in 2017? I remember that. I remember when their soccer team knocked out USA in the FIFA World Cup qualification round. Trinidad's got some athletes, and it's pretty cool for Dream to get a gold here, especially in honor of his late friend. So very cool for him, for his country. I'm sure, everyone in the track community was kind of thinking about this. Sometimes, it's not about the race. Every year there's going to be people running fast times. Every year we're going to crown new champions and we'll have upsets, winners, breakout stars. But, at the end of the day, every life is special. And, sometimes winning and losing isn't as important as someone's life. So pretty cool for Dream to be able to get a win in his honor of Dion. And for Trevor Bassett, all right, he runs 45.05 indoors, which is going to convert to a 44-ish second outdoor, maybe 44 low. Trevor Bassett can run the 400 hurdles. Now, I'm not saying Trevor Bassett is going to beat Rai Benjamin in any race. But if he's running 40, I don't know if Rai Benjamin runs 45.05 this indoor season. Like, if he were to try, I don't know if Rai Benjamin runs 45.05. I mean, what's Rai Benjamin's lifetime PB indoors? I don't even know. Let's try to find it. Let's scroll. Let's scroll, Travis. Let's look for Rai Benjamin's lifetime indoor 400 meter PB. There it is, 45.39. 45.05 is much faster than 45.39. Now, again, I'm not saying Trevor Bassett is going to beat Rai Benjamin, but what I'm saying is he has raw 400 meter speed and he knows how to hurdle. And that is what it's going to take to even challenge a Rai Benjamin at the U.S. level. Okay, I'm not even thinking Carson Warholm. He's in a different world, obviously, and a different country. Different craziness. But I think that we could have a legit situation where Trevor Bassett might not beat, but scare Rai Benjamin this year. I mean, all I'm saying is Rai Benjamin won't be able to sleepwalk through the U.S. trials the way he did the Olympic trials. That's all I'm saying. Because I think Trevor Bassett is pretty damn good. So that's all I got to say about that. Watch out. Watch out, Rai Benjamin. The man, the myth, the Bass, it is coming for you. That's a stupid line. Delete that from the record. I didn't mean to say it that way. Anyway, all right. Let's move on to some distance finals. One of our pick'em questions was, will Ethiopia go 1, 2, 3? And that was probably the most obvious 1, 2, 3. We looking back on it because one, to get Gudov ran 3:57. She won by like 6 seconds. There's a photo. I put it in the rundown, Travis, that kind of visualizes how massive of a win she had in this race. Travis, you have the photo? I put it in the rundown. There's a tweet from Cathal. But look at this photo. She was basically already like 40 meters past the finish line. Second place is still 40 meters away from finishing. And this doesn't happen. Like, this isn't a 5K or a 10K or a marathon. This is an indoor 1500. This is not many laps. And she just destroyed her two fellow countrywomen and the rest of the field. It literally was like there was two races going on. It looked like this was the pro in the field, and then it was a high school race happening behind her. Impressive run. She basically decided, I am not going to take any chances. I know I'm the best. If I just run a sub 4 minute pace, I'm going to win easily. And that's what she did. And then Ethiopia goes 1, 2, 3. Their 2, 3 also clearly were never challenged by anyone else. Americans finished 5th and 7th in this. But it was basically an Ethiopian show. And it's an interesting stat about this. This is the first time ever a country has gone 1, 2, 3 in a world indoor event. And you're like, that's kind of weird. That has to have happened before, because clearly there's times when people go 1, 2, 3 in events outdoors all the time. Well, the reason why it's rare, and this reason why it's the first time ever, is because typically you only get to represent 2 from one country in any given event at World Indoors. It's not 3 per country, it's 2 per country. But when they did wild cards where you can get a third person if they're a defending champion or a world indoor tour champion, you have the opportunity to have 3 in one event. Like the US has 3 men in the men's 60. So there's maybe they go 1, 2, 3 in the men's 60. You never know. So it doesn't really happen that often, but that's why it's so rare. And Ethiopia, they showed up. They go 1, 2, 3 here. I forget. Did they go 1? Did they go 1, 3 in the women's 3K? Yeah, I think they went 1, 3 in the women's 3K. They went 1, 3, 5 in the women's 3K, and they go 1, 2, 3 in the women's 15. It's pretty damn good. 6 people all in the top 5. Incredible. Josette Norris getting 5th. Good run for her. But it really was just a story of 2 different events happening. There was the Ethiopian group doing their thing and then the rest of the field. So I'm sure Norris and McLean will learn a lot from this experience. They still ran like well. They didn't like shit the bed and finish like 10th or 12th. They competed well. They were, Norris was what? 0.1 away from 4th. So she was in it, but just never in it for a medal. But excited to see what, especially Norris, man. I mean, McLean has already made a world team. She obviously made the Olympics last year. So she's had this experience. But for Norris, this is the first time she's at this stage. She's had this incredible journey. And I'm sure this 5th place finish indoors is going to be a mental reminder for her. She goes up against the U.S. trials outdoors and maybe makes another world outdoor team. And it's just like you need these reps before you're able to actually compete for medals. But hey, 5th in the world. If you told Josette Norris in 2019 she was going to finish 5th at World Indoors in 2022, she would have, one, called you crazy, laughed at you, probably ignored you, a lot of things. Maybe slapped you. No, she wouldn't have slapped you. She would be like, oh, yeah? Well, tell my coach that because they don't believe me yet. But, or something like that. But it's incredible to like look at someone from 3 years ago and be like, you are going to become here. And it's just like an incredible trajectory. So big ups for Norris getting 5th for USA. Moving over to the men's 800. This was a little bit of a disappointing race, and you could kind of see it. Disappointing race for the Americans. You could kind of see it in the post-race interviews that Hoppel and Harris gave in the mix zone. They both were thinking, I can win. And then they probably both were thinking, if I don't win, the other guy's going to win. Like, this is time for USA to go 1-2. Let's have our Ethiopia moment. And it just did not play out that way. One thing that did play out that you kind of could have predicted was Marco Arop was going to go to the lead. He did a lot last year. He took the pace out hot, I think in the like 50-ish seconds through 400. And basically, Arop controlled the race through 600 meters, through, 75% of the race. And he was just, if you weren't Arop or in second, there was no way you were going to medal. Or there was no way you were going to win. If you weren't Arop or second, you weren't going to win. There was no way someone was going to win who was sitting in 5th place with 200 meters to go. Yeah, you could go from 5th to 3rd, but you're not going from 5th to 1st. And that's basically what did in the 2 Americans was neither of them were locked right behind Arop. They just didn't have that good position. And in a 800 indoors, it's all about positioning and a little bit of luck. And they just didn't have it. You could tell they were kind of disappointed. Even Hoppel getting 3rd, it kind of shows where he's at right now in his career, where he's like, yeah, I got 3rd, but, I wanted to win. Isaiah Harris, I'm going to have nightmares about that race for a while. And then hand touching, head, forehead, face. Yeah, they're both disappointed, but, they learned from it. And hopefully they take these bruises and these scars and put some Band-Aids on them and show up for outdoors stronger. And a lot of these issues, though, that they had indoors aren't going to really happen outdoors because positioning isn't as important for outdoors as it is for indoors. But you got to give some credit to Garcia. Mariano Garcia takes the win. Spain, man. Spain gets the job done. We saw Mario Garcia Romo win NCAA indoors for Spain. Now you have Garcia here for the men's 800. I'm going to say it's probably a Spaniard is going to finish top 3 in the men's 1500, if I had to guess. Maybe even top 3 in the men's 3K. Spain is all over the world. They're all over the map. I think Spain's going to look pretty good in the men's 15 and 3K tomorrow. Garcia, again, it started off well because, Spain went 1-4 here. So Spain, they got some special broom with all their mid-distance stars and even 3K stars. And then Quebec, the 17-year-old silver medalist. That makes sense, right? So, dude, Kenya, every year there's always like a new guy. It's like, oh, by the way, see this 17-year-old, he's gonna run 143 this year. Oh, okay, that you don't have enough. And then a year goes by, it's like, oh, see this 17-year-old? Oh, you mean he's 18? No, this is a new 17-year-old who's gonna now run 143. Oh, okay, well, that's 2 in a row. No, next year, this guy though, he's gonna run 142 when he's 19, and it just keeps going and going. Kenya, man, that is 800-meter country. 800-meter country? Yeah, 800-meter country is Kenya. So, yeah. All right, let's keep going down the list. A little bit of highlights of the women's 60 hurdles. Wasn't that too much of a marquee of an event. Samba Mayella of France won it in 7:78. Cunningham, an American, was able to nab a medal. Stag? Isn't there a way to say that word with an S? Cole, ask producer. Is stag? No.
Snag?
Snag. That's the word. Snag. Snag a medal. Snag. That's the word I was looking for. Snag a medal. Cunningham snagged a medal, running 7:87, gets third. What was the winning time of the women's 60-meter hurdles indoors? So the winning time for this was the exact same time that Grace Stark ran to win the college championship. So gives you a little perspective that, a little bit of a down year for the women's 60 hurdles. But hey, if you're going to win a global medal, I don't care if it's up year, down year, side year, weird year, COVID year, non-COVID year, a win's a win, and good for Serena for getting her first global gold. Pretty cool. She clearly was happy. We'll see what happens when we start throwing in Kenny Harrison, Grace Stark, and all the other top 100-meter hurdlers outdoor season. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the field events. The first field event I want to talk about wasn't really about the result or the mark, but in the women's high jump, there were 2 Ukrainian athletes who competed. And one of them, apologies if I say your name incorrectly, Yaroslava Mayuchki, Yaroslava, she won and she threw down a world lead 2:02, so jumps over 2 meters. Now she's been good. This isn't like, oh my God, you won, because like she's always been in the medal conversation for the past many years. I think I picked her to win Olympic gold, and then it didn't happen. But hey, it's okay. A lot of people I picked to win didn't win. So it's not like a coming out story of like, whoa, who are you? But obviously, with everything going on in our world, with Russia having a war with Ukraine, and in the midst of that, within a few weeks of that happening, she's flying over to Belgrade and she's representing her country, winning a world championship. It's pretty cool. And it's kind of wild. I was reading some notes about her journey to this point. So obviously travel for Ukrainians is all over the place. Catherine Mary on Twitter, she tweeted out that Yaroslava had to flee Ukraine when the war started. She spent days in a cellar, took 3 days to travel 2,000 miles, 2,000 kilometers to Belgrade, and a lot of people involved, and basically it's just a long travel day. 3 days to travel. I hate freaking 6 hours to travel. 3 days is just insane. So obviously there's a lot of emotion going on with trying to get to the world championships. Your country is dealing with this war and you're trying to train. You're like, what's the point of high jumping right now, right? Like it's kind of mentally for you to compartmentalize your job and sport with what's going on in the real world. You kind of there's like that. There's clearly going to be emotion of what am I even doing? Who cares about how high I can jump? That's not the most important thing in the world right now. But for her to handle both emotional tolls of focusing as an elite athlete and dealing with what's going on in her country, it's pretty incredible for her to overcome all of that and end it with a gold medal. It's pretty wild. There were some quotes that she had post meet that Cathal put up. She said, "I want to show Ukrainian people are strong people, that they never give up. Our military protect our country at home, and today I protect my country on the track." So clearly, there are not many people in the world who can really understand what she's going through. Very few people are dealing with what she's dealing with. And for her to handle something that I can't even relate to, I have no idea what it's like to do this. It's pretty incredible for her to get the gold. And her teammate also jumped pretty well. I think she finished fifth. So they both had good days. And obviously, imagine standing on that podium whenever they do the medal ceremony and they're going to play the Ukrainian national anthem. It's going to be pretty damn cool. So congrats to her. It's pretty damn cool. Also in the field events, we had the big shocker. We talk about Jacobs as a shocker. At the end of the day, we saw Jacobs was a challenger. We weren't like being like, there's no way in hell Jacobs win. Like he won, it's shocking, but him winning is a win. Ryan Krauser losing is freaking insane. He lost to Darlan Romani of Brazil. I'll admit, never heard of the guy before. I've heard of, Walsh, the other Americans, Filip, the Croatian, a bunch of guys. But Darlan Romani, haven't really followed his career trajectory. And Krauser throws the first throw, throws over 22 meters. He's like, all right, it's over, guys. He's starting 22-4. Sorry, don't come back. But then in the third throw, Romani throws 22.53. And then Krauser's on his heels. Fourth throw, he throws 22 meters, not enough. Fifth throw, he fouls, not enough. Sixth throw, he throws under 22 meters. And Romani gets the win. Man, this just goes to show you that no matter how consistent you can be at an event, no matter how dominant you can be, no matter how much you can improve, at the end of the day, when you have a competition, everything you did in the past does not matter. And for good or for worse, right? If you have a bad season, you can put it all together in one moment and it makes it all right. If you have a good season, you could be like Johannes Vetter in the Olympics. This is like a Johannes Vetter moment. Remember, Johannes Vetter didn't even make the final in the javelin throw at the Olympics? Krauser losing here feels like that type of level. Now, obviously, it's not as bad as him finishing 10th, but Romani taking down Krauser, I was utterly surprised. I'm happy there was no gambling odds for this because I would have lost a shit ton of money. So thank you, whoever's in charge of that, to make sure I didn't screw myself over by putting all my money on Krauser. But yeah, incredible throw for Romani. And Krauser's still good, but he has this new expectation on him now that he needs to show up and either break a world record or dominate or have all-time best back-to-back throws. Just everything he now does needs about beating all-time statistics, and it's not just about winning. So, hey, Krauser will be back. He's probably going to look pretty good in Eugene, and he's probably going to throw it 25 meters. Well, not 25 meters, but you get the idea. He's going to throw it incredible. So, yeah, surprise there in the shot put. Heptathlon, Damian Warner got the win. An American, Basin, finished sixth. Scantlin, DNF. And then also in the women's pole vault, Sandy Morris and Katie Nago go 1-2, which is pretty cool. A lot of medals there for USA. So when we look back on all the medals, Sandy Morris is the only American with a gold. And we're almost done. Right now, I think she's the only one, right? Right now, only one American has a gold medal. But a lot of Americans have silver and bronze. So look at this medal count. Americans have 15 medals, but just 1 gold. Sandy Morris in the pole vault. But you have Coleman, Bassett, Krauser, Briscoe, Purrier, Nago, and Ely, all with silver. Then you have Williams, Bracey, Hoppel, Dendy, Scott, St. Price, and Cunningham, all with bronze. Very interesting. 15 is like pure domination, but only 1 gold. Now, we do have opportunities to get some more golds tomorrow. Obviously, the 4x4s for the U.S. When I say we, sorry, I know there's non-Americans listen to this, but, bear with me. I'm based in Austin, Texas. Well, can't get more American than that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about them more. But yeah, it's kind of weird right now. USA only has 1 gold. They do have 15 medals. So they're probably going to finish in about 17 to 20, I'm guessing. Well, they'll probably get definitely a few more because 4x4s and 60 hurdles and a few other events. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But right now, Sandy Morris, the lone American with gold. I thought this was kind of interesting. Travis, if you remove that pop-up, just show the medal table. And you scroll down, look how many different countries have a gold. 15 different countries have won a global gold. It's a lot of unique countries. It's kind of cool, right? It's kind of cool that literally almost every event was won by a different country except for Ethiopia. They're the only ones right now who have who won in 2 different events. It's kind of wild. This may go down as one of the most spread out gold medals in world indoor history. I don't know what that statistic is, but right now, 15 countries with gold seems like a high number. And it might go up a few more. We'll have to find out tomorrow. So anyway, that's all I'd say about that. Again, enter the FloTrack Pick'em contest because I want you guys to win. You got to beat me. Click on the QR code right there. Enter it. Got to give your phone number to be eligible. Again, the winner is going to be whoever got more right out of the 11 total picks compared to me, and then we'll pick our winner. We already gave out a winner for the Tokyo Marathon. We had a winner for the NCAA Championships. We'll have a winner here for Worlds, and we're going to do it every weekend. We'll do it multiple times. I'm not sure what we'll do for next weekend. I think Texas Relays is next weekend, so maybe something with Texas Relays. I don't know yet. But yeah, get the picks in, head over to the QR code, and you can do that. Travis, should I answer some of the chat questions? What should we do? Trav, I don't have the chat up because it distracts me. Travis, any chat questions? First, Wendigo said, why no 200 at World Indoors? I don't know why. I do know that the lack of a 200 at World Indoors is enlightening the fact that not only do some athletes, but also the meet organizers of our sport recognize that World Indoors is not the same as outdoors prestige-wise, and the fact that they're going to limit some different events, like it makes sense to eliminate the steeplechase because you can't put a steeple on an indoor track. But a 200 you can clearly do. But I guess they recognize, hey, we want all of our sprinters just doing the 60 and that's it. I don't know why, but if we did have it, it would be fun. And I mean, we would see someone like Abby Steiner go run well, potentially win a global medal out of the NCAA, the way Trevor Bassett just did. You could maybe see Fred Curley come in here, see Noah Lyles start doing it. It would be great. But we just have to wait for that. Do you think Jareem Richards will move down to the 100 like Allison Felix or Curley? No. Jareem, if anything, is going to move up because Jareem's a 200 guy and he just won the 400. So he's going the opposite direction. He's not going down. So, yeah. Speaking of Curley, though, he ran 20 seconds flat in Arizona today, which is just crazy. Also, if you're listening now, head over to the FloTrack homepage. We're live right now at the Stanford Cardinal Classic. Looks like it's raining there. But later tonight, Cole Hawker and Cooper Tier are going to be running a 5K trying to get the world qualifier. You can see here, show the live feed. There we go. Let's put that up. The internet connection between us, it might be a little rigidy, but it's a normal connection if you actually go to the homepage. But check it out. They're running the men's 1500 right now in the rain. So check that out. Stanford Cardinal Classic going on live right now. But yeah, anything else? Any other questions? Ooh, I do want to say this. Travis, if you can bring up Hazel Clark's Twitter. I believe it's Hazel Clark's. Yeah, I found the tweet. I'll go to the Bermuda games, so scroll down. So Hazel Clark, 2 days ago, tweeted this out. On April 9th, 2022, the Bermuda games, hosted in Bermuda, are going down. You see Noah Lyles is going to be in attendance. Sha'Carri Richardson, Johan Blake, Bermuda's Jana Pern-Chief, and more. I think Trayvon Bromell retweeted this tweet, so maybe Bromell will be there. But some of the top sprinters and jumpers and what you have it in the world are going to be in Bermuda racing in that race. It's going to be live on FloTrack. So check it out. It's going to be awesome. It's the Continental Tour, Devonshire. It's April 9th. It's called the Bermuda Games, but it's in Devonshire, Bermuda. The Continental Tour is going to start up in less than a month. And look at all these events we have. Devonshire, the Golden Games, Nairobi, Tokyo, Luva, Ostrava. I'm bad at these words. Baidoff, skip it. Andujar, Hengelo, Prague, Samorin, the New York Grand Prix, Turku, Marseille. Oh my God. Madrid, I'm not even going to bother to say that one. Rovido, yeah, Sheskafar, not going to bother saying it. Oviedo, Berlin. There's one more after Berlin. Chorzów, which sounds like a food, and Zagreb. All year long, all the Continental Tours. It's going to be awesome. Remember last year we had some fun races at the Continental Tour. It's going to happen again. Exciting. Check it out. Starts April 9th all the way through September 11th. Great full year of outdoor track. Man, outdoor track, man. I know I shouldn't. We still have one more day of indoor, but we got the Penn Relays. Boston Marathon is going to be happening. Get some more marathon action back. Gotta love the marathons, right? Yeah, it's just exciting to get outdoors, right? This indoor stuff. Outdoors, breathe in the fresh air, watch some 4x1s, talk some shit to people in the Caribbean, and say, hey, we got Sha'Carri. Oh yeah, you got Elaine Thompson. Hurrah! Oh yeah, well we got Curly. Oh yeah, we got Jareem Richards. Oh yeah, well we got the whole freaking thing. It's gonna be great. I can't wait to talk a lot of shit. I can't wait to be right a lot of times, and I can't wait to I know I'm going to be wrong also, but hey, that's the fun of the game. Lay it out there. But yeah, great day 2 in the books. Final day tomorrow. We're going to have special guest Josh Kerr to react to a lot of distance races. I'll ask him straight up, would you have won this race? That's going to be the first question. Would you have won the men's 1500 after he watches it? It's going to be the first question I ask him. But yeah, tune in, like, subscribe. Thanks for listening, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow, I believe, at 2 p.m. Central after the final race.